What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are breaking down week 5 of the college football season. This is a fun one because if you're an Eagles fan, you can be sure that there's 100% lock that we're going to be talking about some future Eagles player on the horizon with Georgia versus Alabama. That is our game of the week. We're going to break it down on both sides. Who are the top prospects to watch? Joining me, he's Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. What a great slate of games we had, this past weekend and Friday. Don't forget. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of heavy hitters. This upcoming weekend. Obviously, we're going to talk about Bama and Georgia, but there's a lot of others that I'm very interested in.
Absolutely. Let's get into our top takeaways from week 4.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Man, there were some fun games in this one. Do you have a top takeaway from week 4, dude?
Yeah. Honestly, I think for me, Tennessee put themselves a big spotlight and really just said, hey, don't forget about us on down here. Because, man, they looked real good against Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked, lost out there at times. Tennessee's real good. So that's for me is the big thing is when you have a team announce themselves essentially to the polls and to the world. I think they moved up a couple of spots depending on which poll, but they're again right there, top 6, top 7. And yeah, one of my after watching that game, they're definitely kind of on that Miami of like an exciting, fun team to watch.
Yeah, I was really excited to see how Nico Iamaleava would handle the crowd of Oklahoma, and he did. It wasn't a perfect game or any means, but the flashes were there, and I think he's right there, pound for pound, with Arch Manning in terms of like the best, the quarterback with the highest upside, if that makes sense. I think he's that good. 6'6", like the change of direction at that size and things like that he does is just really special. My top takeaway, I'm going out of the SEC. 5 of my top 6 winners of the week came from the Big Ten, man. You saw Penn State and their offense. Yeah, it was Kent State, but they looked solid. Drew Aller, I thought looks excellent. Caleb Johnson from Iowa continues to cement his case as RB1 in college football. Just putting up monster yards. He had another 206 yards and 3 touchdowns against Minnesota. And he's just going crazy. 8.4 yards per carry through 4 games. Every game he's got over at least 100 yards. Your boy Trey Harris from Ole Miss had a monster game. We'll get to that in a second. Then you got Kalel Mullings out of Michigan, who we can throw, because on the show, if you watched it before, we've been kind of talking a little smack on Donovan Edwards, and the production has never matched the hype. And this guy named Kalel Mullings out of Michigan, 6'2", short yardage back, really put the offense on his shoulders when Michigan needed him. I thought he was the star there in that big win against USC. And then another guy who we'll be talking about in a little bit, Luke Altmaier, quarterback out of Illinois, surprised me to say the least. He took down number 22 Nebraska, and this is a guy that has now 2 top 25 wins on his belt. Kansas, who was number 19, and now Nebraska. So for me, the biggest winner was the Big Ten. I thought they were top to bottom really solid.
Yeah, no, they're certainly, well, obviously Michigan, again, slipped a little against Texas. Overall, they have been looking fantastic as a conference, which usually isn't the case, when you compare them to, some of the the big boys down in the SEC.
Yep. All right, let's get to our Eagles draft targets of the week. Eagles draft targets of the week. Do you want to go first or second, man?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Do it.
Anybody who knows me, knows that I like to focus on one or two positions, linebacker and tight end, because for me, now obviously you can say edge and getting a pass rush is certainly there, and I will get to that point. Don't worry, because I will run out of linebackers and tight ends to talk about. But maybe not. But this week I'm going to talk about Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This guy, honestly, he is quickly rising up, in my opinion. The tight end rankings there for Penn State. They absolutely dominated Kent State, 56-0. He looked really good out there. I believe he only did catch one pass, but again, he does so much more than just catching balls, which obviously you need to do and need to learn to do at the next level. He is extremely athletic. He is a very, very willing blocker, and when he does so, he kind of has like a mean streak, and you saw that against Kent State the other day, when he was asked to block. He just, very focused, very driven, and he really does look to put his defender on the ground. This guy is an extremely, high football IQ. So he certainly knows his role and knows kind of what is needed from him. But this is guy, like I said, very, very athletic, and he's really rising up my board in the tight end rank. I think right now, I have him, I want to say like 5th or 6th. He's somewhere up there, maybe even higher than that. Kind of forget. But
you had him 5th. You had him 5th. Yeah, and I had him 7th.
Yeah. So this is definitely a guy that, again, it's hard with tight ends sometimes to kind of gauge, because all we want to do is look at the numbers. And, while technically, Warren does lead Penn State in receptions and yards and tied for touchdowns, you look at a game like Kent State where they were up 56-0. Well, yeah, he really only had the one catch, but he's still leading his team, 16 receptions, 226 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a really important part of that offense. And honestly, if Penn State wants to make a name for themselves into this college football playoffs, he is going to have to be a huge part of that, and he's going to be a part of the game plan to stop Penn State for sure.
He had 5 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown against Kent State. So the one catch he had, it was a one-handed catch on the sideline. It was pretty sick. And he also threw for a touchdown. He's a former quarterback. And he also had a passing touchdown against
Kent State. 17 yards, yeah.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
He's awesome. I was watching the Penn State game, and he didn't do much in the second half. Like, if he had continued that production, he was on the path of being my player of the week. But I went with Drew Aller instead. No, but he looks really terrific, man. He looks awesome. I'm gonna go linebacker, of course. We're going to Utah. Give me 2. Let's talk about Lander Barton. Utah began its first season in the Big 12 with a gutsy, tough, physical win over Oklahoma State yesterday afternoon. To go into Stillwater, man, and get that win without Cam Rising sidelined due to injury is beyond impressive. And how did they do that? Their defense is as elite as it gets. They held first-round talent running back Ollie Gordon to just 42 yards on 11 rushes. They forced Oklahoma State to bench their starting quarterback in Alan Bowman. Bowman was 8 of 22 for 89 yards in the first half and 2 interceptions, man. This is a Utah offense that also turned the ball over 3 times. It did not matter. The Utah defense was still that good to hold Oklahoma State down, literally lock them down. And the leader of that defense is Lander Barton, who I've talked about on different shorts and other ranking shows. He has prototypical size for a linebacker, 6'4". He played 7 games in 2023, but then he had a season-ending lower body injury. He's back now and better than ever. His surface stats so far in 2024 aren't really eye-popping. 10 tackles, 5 run stops, just 1 quarterback pressure. But trust me, this guy is as sound as it gets. Why is he an Eagles target? Because Lander Barton is probably the best run-defending linebacker in college football, period. He's also a very good athlete at 6'4", who dropping into coverage is one of his biggest strengths. I think this guy has first-round potential, modern linebacker, LB1 upside all over him. And when all is said and done, come April, we could be talking about him as the first linebacker selected in the draft. This week, Lander Barton goes up against Arizona, which should be a really good game. So keep an eye out for Lander Barton as we continue to see missed tackles from the Philadelphia Eagles every single week. That's the guy that doesn't. So Lander Barton, come on down. Have you gotten a chance to watch him yet?
I have. And yes, Lander Barton is a fun prospect. When you said his name, I was like, I know that name. It didn't click right away, but then I was like, oh yeah, linebacker Utah. Obviously, don't get too many Utah games on the regular, but had to go out and search for it. But I really do like him. I think you're right. He does have a potential to kind of be one of those first linebackers off the board. I think on my rankings, I have him. I'm gonna say 7th or 8th, maybe. If I remember.
This is embarrassing. He did not make our initial rankings.
Neither one of ours.
It's not good.
Oh,
I think he's got.
Well,
that's what happens in college football. There's just too many players.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not wrong on that. So, he's definitely one of those that I like watching when I have the opportunity so far. So
yeah, he's a monster. Unfortunately, Arizona versus Utah is at 10:15 on Saturday night. I'll definitely be asleep. So that'll be a Sunday morning watch for.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our game of the week. Game of the week, Georgia at Alabama. Oh my gosh, there's so many players to talk about in this one. We're going to try and keep it short and sweet. Ryan, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Listen, I have a feeling nothing that I can say is going to not matter, but come even close to what you're about to impart onto us. So, by all means, please. I know you have a lot to say, and you need to be given the opportunity to get it out. So, go for it, sir.
Marshawn chimes in. This is good, boys. Don't talk about the funeral game at 1. I'm right there with you, Marshawn. I think
does Dallas play at 1? I don't really get it. I think
the Eagles lose by 2 scores, but that's we'll be talking about that at halftime and post game today. All right. I already touched on Georgia. I'll go into Georgia in a little bit, but since we covered them in previous weeks,
Sure.
But I haven't gotten the chance to talk about Alabama yet. So I'll lead us off with Alabama, which fields one of the best offensive lines in the country. Their interior offensive line is as top-notch as it gets, leading off with Parker Brailsford, a transfer out of Washington. Doesn't have a lot of height, but you look at Cam Jurgens and Jason Kelsey, this guy and his athleticism is as elite as it gets. They also got two other guys in Jaden Roberts and Tyler Booker. Both of those guys, 6'5", 6'5". They are beasts on the interior offensive line. Keep an eye out for that because those guys are the ones that protect, the biggest storyline here, and that is Jalen Milroe, who is absolutely cooking so far this season. Amazing arm strength, foot speed, elite athleticism. It's all there. This guy is one of the best when it comes to big throws and getting yards on the ground. His ability to create huge plays with his arms and legs is as elite as it gets. When it comes to weaknesses, his struggles are pretty obvious. He holds onto the football too long. He struggles against the blitz. But this season, I thought he's made some improvements, especially under pressure. 2 weeks ago, he was 12 of 17, 196 yards, 75 more on the ground. He's got 14 total touchdowns through 3 games. Right now, I have Milroe third in the Heisman race behind Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, but that could very well change if he, dominates the Georgia Bulldogs. Sure. Coming into 2024, Alabama's biggest weakness, without a doubt, was their wide receiver position, mostly due to inexperience. And speaking of underclassmen, the guy that you all should be watching is Ryan Williams, a true freshman, 6 foot, 175 pounds. 2 weeks ago, he was the leading receiver for Bama in the win against Wisconsin, averaging nearly 30 yards per reception. He's got 4 touchdowns through 3 games. His nickname is Hollywood. He's just a burner. He's got elite speed. He's already one of the best vertical threats in college football. I see him as a Devontae Smith clone. He doesn't just have elite speed to be a vertical threat. He's also an unbelievable separator off the line of scrimmage, smooth mover, miles away from being eligible for the draft. But make sure you keep an eye out for this dude because I think he correlates with Alabama's offense, which is getting hot. So is Ryan Williams. So he fits Jalen Milroe to a T. So those are the 2 big names, I think, for Alabama on offense to watch. I've got some more names, but I'll throw it to you next, man.
Yeah, listen, you're not wrong. Ryan Williams has certainly, come out on the scene. He's got 10 for 285 and 4 touchdowns so far. So obviously Milroe enjoys going to Williams quite a bit. But yeah, I really think that the winner of this game is going to come down to that Alabama defense with linebacker Jahad Campbell, who I believe is leading the team in tackles with 28. And then, of course, Malachi Moore, who we have talked about on this show previously in that Alabama secondary. I think you look at this defense, and I think it matches up pretty well against Carson Beck and those Georgia Bulldogs. From what I understand, Tate Ratledge is out. Mikel Williams is still questionable. Is that
Mikel Williams is still recovering. He's week to week right now with a grade 2 high ankle sprain. Yeah. But he didn't play the last couple of weeks, so he's definitely a name to watch.
Yeah, so I think if you kind of take out some of these big names from Georgia, I think that obviously weakens them and makes them more vulnerable. And especially considering the way that they played, last week against barely got out alive against Kentucky. Yeah. Not the same, Kentucky's certainly a rising team, but something is telling me that I think that Alabama is going to sneak a victory here.
Yeah,
it's going to be close, but that's kind of my thought.
I have a name for you to watch from Alabama defensively, as an Eagles fan. He's a transfer from Michigan. Keon Saab is a really intriguing guy. He didn't really play much for Michigan in 2023. You saw they did like a swap, like not a swap. Sorry, I'm thinking of Ohio State. Caleb Downs left, and then in comes Keon Saab, who didn't play much, but his grades were really good. You know, he played only 221 coverage snaps, but he forced the third most incompletions for a safety, which is pretty interesting. Really good size, really good build, tons of experience playing against high-level competition in the Big Ten and the SEC. He's already been named SEC Defensive Player of the Week. I think it was week 1 against Western Kentucky, where he had 2 interceptions so far this year. He's allowed 8 receptions on 10 targets for 82 yards, no touchdowns, and a QB rating allowed when targeted of 61.1. So keep an eye out for the name Keon Saab. That's a really interesting one. And then I'm going to go to the other side. I'm not going to talk about Georgia's offense because we already did that on a previous show. But I want to throw out some names on defense that I think you should absolutely know, especially as Eagles fans. Leading off, without a doubt, Malachi Starks, a safety, probably the safety in the 2025 NFL draft. 6'1", 200 plus pounds, can do it all. Rangy playmaker. He's been on NFL radar since his true freshman season in 2022. You look at modern NFL draft history, the Bulldogs have had just 2 players drafted at the safety position in the first round. You had Ben Smith in 1990, Lewis Cine in 2022. So this guy could really make a name for himself. He's a great run defender. He's an even better tackler, solid in coverage, elite athleticism for the position. Without a doubt, the favorite to be the top safety off the board. Pound for pound, I think he might be a blue chip player. He might be, but because of the positions of need and because of the way the safety position kind of drops in the draft, he probably falls. But when we do our big boards, make no mistake, Ryan, Malachi Starks will probably be in my top 10.
Yeah. Oh, I already have him in my top 10. Really? And you said it perfectly. If the safety position wasn't so devalued when it comes to draft, he honestly, he could be number 1 pick. Yeah. I mean, he's that good. He is that good to be a number 1 pick. But they just, people just don't care about safeties like that. So he'll never be a number 1 pick. But he is going to get some team a starter for 10 years and a good one at that. Man, he is good. He is real good.
And then last but not least, so I do want to touch on this guy because I think he's got Eagles written all over him. He is Jalen Walker, 6'2", 245-pound junior. He does it all, man. He's just instills what the Eagles, I think, are looking for right now with Vic Fangio. He can play outside linebacker, inside linebacker. Kirby Smart kind of utilizes him based on whatever package Georgia's running at the time. He's got athleticism that reminds you of Quay Walker when watching the tape, who was a first-round pick back in 2022. And so far this season, through 3 games, he's been arguably the best player on that Georgia defense. 8 pressures, a sack, 53 snaps at edge, 37 in the box, 2 snaps in the slot. This guy is clearly an underrated Swiss Army knife for the Bulldogs defense. So as the Eagles kind of move forward into that positionless deep level of defense, I think Jalen Walker can do a lot of things at a high level. So keep an eye out for Jalen Walker.
Yeah. In fact, I want to say I previewed him as an Eagle target a few weeks ago.
You did.
Yeah. So I've definitely been, he's definitely been on my radar for sure for a little while. But yeah, I think, listen, I think this is going to be just an absolute, slobber knocker of a match that's going to come down to 1 or 2 plays. And that's exactly what college football is all about. It's coming down to the wire and just who wants it more. And Man, I can't wait for this game. It's going to be a
It's
fun.
it's interesting that both teams had buys last week, so that's
Yeah.
fascinating. I don't know if that was planned or what, but
No, that might be happy accident, but
yeah.
again, I think you do what you can to put the best people out there for the best game of the year. Honestly.
All right, let's get to our player of the week prediction. All right, let's get to our player of the week predictions. Before going forward, let's look back at how we did last week. We both had Tennessee winning. You had Michigan over USC. Well done. We both had Nebraska. I picked Utah over Oklahoma State. Good job, me. And then we both picked TCU, who got rolled.
And didn't I say if TCU lost again, I'll never pick an Horned Frog? They screwed me 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, not a good week. Not a good week. Yeah. That was tough. You had Trey Harris last week, who had 11 catches, 225 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Well done.
Insane for one game.
Yeah. Ashton Genty only had 11 carries and 127 yards, but
not bad, but
it's good, but not nearly as good as Trey Harris. We did not miss on any of our additional picks. You went 6-3 on the week. I went 5-4, which brings our totals. I didn't count mine yet. You are at 26-14 through the first 4 weeks or so, and I am 25-6, 30-10.
That's I gained a game. That's all I can ask for is gaining ground. I got that.
There's my winners of the week, as we previously mentioned. Let's roll into week 5. Who is your player of the week prediction, Ryan?
Oh, yes. So I am going to go with going way out west, and I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks and Jordan James, the running back there. That just is honestly, he's fun to watch. He's got just under 300 yards so far and 3 touchdowns this year. They are playing an extremely weak UCLA team that I think not only can Dylan Gabriel expose, but I think Jordan James as well. And once they put him away, again, I could certainly see them just kind of giving them carries and them kind of rolling over a soft Utah team. So give me Jordan James for the win for 2 in a row.
It's a really good one. Nearly 100 yards every single week. He's got 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's a really good one. I am going to go with another running back, and a guy that I really like. His name is RJ Harvey out of UCF. He's been putting up monster numbers this year. UCF had a bye week last week, but you go the previous week in week 4 where they won in dramatic fashion over TCU, 35-34 in the Big 12 conference opener. He was the guy. He put the team on his shoulders. He has 3 games of at least rushing over 100 yards. And in that game, 187 yards on 29 attempts. He's got 9 total touchdowns. And he's right. I think this guy is right up there with Caleb Johnson out of Iowa as the best running back in the country, at least in college. And you look at this guy as a prospect. I thought he was an underrated guy. He's not underrated anymore. UCF takes on Colorado this week, which I expect to be a decently high-scoring affair. I think UCF can put up a lot of points against the Buffs. UCF has scored at least 35 points in all 3 games this year. Colorado does not have a great defense. So give me RJ Harvey, and hopefully he has more touches than Ashton Genty last week. See. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a good choice. He certainly has been doing really well so far this college football season, and it's a good matchup. And again, he should see the targets there to at least be better than Genty, right?
Yes, sir. All right, let's get to our picks of the week. All right, picks of the week, Ryan. Alabama versus Georgia. You're going Alabama?
I'm going Alabama. Feel it in my gut.
I'm right there with you, man. I think Alabama's offense is just a little bit better. It's in Alabama. That's definitely going to be a difference maker.
Big, yeah.
I think Jalen Milroe is cooking right now. The way he looked 2 weeks ago. I'm waiting for Georgia's offense to get in rhythm. I think Georgia has a lot of great players on defense. I just believe in Alabama just a tad more than Georgia at the time. And that could very well change very quickly. Oklahoma State versus Kansas State. Two teams that lost tough ones in week 4. Both are looking to rebound. Who are you going with? Oklahoma State or Kansas State?
Yeah, this one for me might be the toughest because I think they're so evenly matched here. But
I'm going Kansas State.
Yeah, I think I want to go Kansas State too. I think I like what I've seen, the little bit that I've seen of them. Their offense looks smooth and it's just running the ball down people's throats. I love that.
You're going Kansas State?
Yeah, I'll go Kansas State.
Kansas State. Illinois versus Penn State. Illinois looked really good. Luke Altmaier, he's not an NFL quarterback, at least not this point in time, but he's a game manager, and he made the throws, a lot of short throws, but he was efficient. That's really all you're asking out of Luke Altmaier, to not create turnovers and be efficient. On the other side, Penn State, Drew Aller, and that offense look a lot better than they did in previous years. I think you had Tyler Warren throw a touchdown pass. You saw the Wildcat last week. It's a different offense, and obviously the defense is legit. Illinois also has Xavier Scott, defensive back that I love a lot. Keep an eye out for that. Who you going, man? Illinois or Penn State?
Listen, I don't think Illinois is going to be the one to trip up Penn State.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with Penn State.
I'm right there with you.
Even though it looks like they dropped in the polls because they had an off week.
What?
Yeah.
Penn State, they beat Kent State.
Or Kent State, I'm sorry, not an off week, but it looks like they I mean, again, according to the AP poll, looks like they're 10th, and the coaches poll, they are tied for 8th.
That's wild.
I agree.
I mean, they've won by like 50 points. All
right.
Arizona versus Utah. Utah, I guess we're still waiting for the availability of Cam Rising at this point in time. I can't. He was a game time decision last week. Hopefully that hand injury improves for an Arizona team that's also looking to rebound somewhat. Who are you going with, Arizona or Utah?
I mean, I saw what Utah did without Rising, and it's kind of impressive. I do like Arizona, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with the Utes. Until I see otherwise. Are we just gonna go chalk? Because I'm going Notre Dame.
You're going Notre Dame?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go Louisville. I'm happy about that.
All right. Yeah, I think Notre Dame got a little shock to the system. They came out and they destroyed, some cupcake team, and I had another kind of fight the other day. But yeah, I like Notre Dame. Honestly, I like them as a team. I like the talent that they have. I think they just kind of ran into the perfect situation of getting hit and not being able to come back up. So this is in Notre Dame, right?
Let me check.
Otherwise,
It is in Notre Dame. Yep.
so that's that. I think to me, I think it's going to be a close game regardless, because I do think Louisville is up and coming team, an improved team. I just like the way Notre Dame is responding so far.
It's a good one. I'm going Louisville here. I think they're criminally underrated. They handle Georgia Tech, who a team I actually like a lot. They don't have that many big names on their team, but they play well together. They have a really nice defensive end named Ashton Gillette. I'm probably butchering that. He's another guy to keep an eye out for if you're an Eagles fan, as a day two guy. So give me Louisville. Let's go on to our top 3 picks locks of the week. Ryan, you won last week. Does that mean I go first or I go second?
Yeah, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You need it.
All right.
You just have to be in charge of our picks to make sure we're not doubling up.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
We're probably getting pretty close here. God, I'm looking at the spreads right now. Give me a second. Literally doing this on the cuff. Yeah, I'm going to go Clemson over Stanford for my first pick.
Okay. That's not a bad one. Question. Have I used Oregon?
Let me check. Yes, you have.
I thought I did. Dang it. And and I know I used that. Man, this is gonna be brutal.
Oh, I know where I'm going next. Oh, I got this one. Nice.
I know I used them. Have I used? Oh, I haven't used Miami yet, have
I? Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Because if I haven't,
no,
I'll take them.
No. Yes, you have.
I know I've used Ole Miss. I don't doubt that.
I don't think so.
I haven't used Ole Miss?
You have not used Ole Miss.
All right, screw it. Give me Ole Miss over Kentucky.
All right. Ole Miss over Kentucky. It should be a good game.
Yeah.
Who's your second pick?
Oh, crap. I know I haven't used USC. I'll take them over the Wisconsin Badgers.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go. I don't know. This team looks like they're in shambles. So I'm going to go for the jugular and jump on it while it's hot. Give me the Duke Blue Devils over North Carolina. North Carolina gave up 70 points to James freaking Madison.
I know.
So I'm going Duke over UNC. UNC looks like a fraud. They rolled Middle Tennessee State last week. And then for my last pick, this is starting to get hard, man. This is what I was hoping would happen.
Yeah, but to me, not to yourself.
Oh man, there's a lot of good games next week that are like pretty close. I do not like Colorado whatsoever.
I was looking at that one too, but I was like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to go Boston College over Western Kentucky.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Don't ask for a scouting report on Boston College. Just don't.
Wait, you don't have a detailed
Nope.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna go with a team that's already lost this year, but I like how they've rebounded. And I'm praying to God I haven't used them already because who keeps track of this stuff
I
in their
do.
head? Well, yes, but not in your own head though. But I'm gonna go with the LSU Tigers over South Alabama. Jaguars played really good last week, but
They did look good.
I do like this LSU team. I like how they've responded to their loss.
You already
And
picked LSU.
dang it.
No, wait. I take it back. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Oh,
Hold
my
on.
God.
Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, you did pick Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I might have been looking at the wrong thing. Let me just scan this real quick. You did pick Miami. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
What? Do I have anything left?
No, you did not take LSU yet. You're good there.
Okay, so I'll take LSU. But I did take Ole Miss.
Yes.
So I got to take a new one there.
Yep.
Oh, son of a bee sting.
This is hard, man.
This is hard. You took a good one in Clemson. I was going to take. I took Texas, I assume, right?
BYU rolled TCU last week, and they're only 1.5 point favorites over Baylor. That's an interesting one.
That's weird. All right, I'm going outside the box.
Do it.
I am going to go with Sam Houston State, the Bearcats, whatever those are, versus the Texas State Bobcats.
Sam Houston State. What's the spread for that?
7.5.
All right, man. There it is. There's our picks of the week. We'll see how it goes next Sunday. Again, the score is I'm 30-10 this year, and Ryan is 26-14. That's not a lot of separation. That could change any moment.
I can change it any moment.
All right, Ryan, final thoughts, plugs. Let's get ready for this Eagles game.
Yeah, right. Oh, snap. We really do have to get ready for this Eagles game. I got to set all my lineups in 3 minutes. Yeah, listen, Monday, Football Smack Talk show, Party on Broad. Tuesday, Birds of the Round Table, and Armchair Scouts. This is where you find me. Shoot me a message if you want to know more, or if you're looking to do anything. Otherwise, you can find me down at the tailgates for all Eagles home games, Lot M. Hit me up, grab a beer, play some games. Good times.
All right, man. Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dabs, Mr. Crockpot. See you next Sunday for our Week 6 preview and picks. Stay awesome, everyone. Whoops.